All right. Hi.
Hi.
I'm so happy to see you, Brandi, and I'm so excited that you agreed to allow me to interview you. The reason why I wanted to bring you on is I've known you for several years.
Can we start over?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Welcome. I'm so excited to have Miss Brandi Lewis here. I've known her for several years. I wanted to interview her. And I'm going to get her to introduce herself to you in 1 second. But I wanted to interview her because I want to start doing a platform highlighting women, amazing women, because my book, I Choose Me, is about being a woman. It's about the different experiences that we undergo. And I have so many phenomenal women in my circle, in my environment, and I just wanted to share their attributes with the world as well. So Brandi, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, my name is Brandi Lewis, and I'm a sustainable art. This is the last time I'm going to
Hello, hi, I'm here with Brandi Lewis. I'm so excited to be able to interview her today. I want to highlight her accomplishments and who she is as a business mogul and entrepreneur. I've known her for several years, and I have decided to create a platform in which I highlight the accomplishments of women because of my book, I Choose Me, and about the fact that it is about women. It's directed towards women. It's about our experiences and things that we have to overcome and our fears, etc. So I thought this would be a great way to introduce some of the phenomenal women in my life. So could you please introduce yourself, Brandi, and tell me about you?
Sure. First and foremost.
Brandi, it's like 6 o'clock. We got to get this shit together. All right. Hi, I am so excited today to have Miss Brandi Lewis here. She is a friend of mine that I've had for several years. I think I've known her since she was about 16 years old or even maybe younger. And I wanted to bring her on because I know that she is a business mogul. I want to discuss her fears and her different journey with being a female entrepreneur. I decided that I was going to start to interview some of the amazing women in my life because it is correlated with the book that I have, I Choose Me, and about being a young girl and growing up and having fears and struggles and overcoming what the world tries to tell us that we can and cannot do as women. So I said, what better way than to share these phenomenal women in my life? So go ahead and introduce yourself, please, Brandi.
Hello, my name is Brandi Lewis. Thank you so much for having me on your first podcast. I feel so thankful. So my name is Brandi Lewis, and I am the designer of Psycho Design House. Psycho means to think outside the box and achieve your dreams. And my brand is based on sustainable wearable art. It's almost like a walk-in art billboard. And I customize different pieces, blazers, leggings, anything basically that I can paint on, shoes. So that's what I do.
Okay. What has your journey been like? I know that you went to Philadelphia School of the Arts. How has it been? I know it's been, 20 years that you've been in business?
Yes, so I graduated in 2005, and I started making t-shirts in my dorm room, and I bought about 5 or 6 t-shirts home to Baltimore, and from that, my brand just expanded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, as a friend, I remember her putting this out, I remember coming home from college, and one thing in particular I remember is my sister's pants. She had these pants, I think they had beads on them.
Yes, beads and all type of paint splashed everywhere.
Yes, and I could see him, like I'm driving down the street and I could literally see him, some distance away. And I was like, this is cute, because it was something that I had never seen before. So that's what attracted me. And then I said to him, where you get those jeans from? She was like, oh, Brandi made them. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, that's really nice. They look good. So what was your motivation behind creating Psycho Designs?
So when I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, I went for fashion marketing. I had no idea that I was an artist. So being around so much diversity and different artists, I tapped into it. And I just decided one day, let me try to make some t-shirts. Because I've always been into fashion. My mom, my dad, they're both into fashion. And so I said, let me see if I can make these t-shirts. So I started making the t-shirts, and like I said, I brought them home, and I had no idea at the time that my brand would expand or that I would even still be around 20 years later. But I think the first thing was believing that I could do it. So once I just made that step with making the t-shirts, and actually for my graduation portfolio, I had like a whole outline of what Psycho was. I already had the lips in 2005. I already had the name, the correct spelling of the name. I worked at Ann Taylor for 3 years before I went to college. So one of the ladies there helped me come up with the spelling for it. So that was how Psycho was birthed.
Oh, wow.
Water looks good.
I'm thirsty. I'm so thirsty. But the thing of, I love that. I love the story and how you started the evolution of it. And I watched it, the evolution of how things changed. You just gave me, you know, the shirt that you made for me for my birthday. Like I can see it. I can see the growth. I can see the change. That it's not something that just, you know, takes place. It's a lot of work that goes into creating this, you know,
Yes,
this brand.
definitely.
What were some of the obstacles that you had to face in moving this way and gearing yourself towards this business, you know, through this 20 years? What are some things that challenges you had to face? Excuse me a minute. I'm gonna take my video off for a second and cut this off because I'm still a mother.
Girl,
I'm
it's
still in here
absolutely
cooking
fine.
dinner, I'm multitasking, doing a million things. I thought I cut it off, the timer off, but I guess not. But go ahead, I can hear you. Go ahead and answer that question for me.
Sure. So the first thing was, okay, so when I first started making the t-shirts, I was in my dorm room, you know, I had my friends, they were like, oh, these look good. So I believed in myself. I believed that I could do it. And then when I came home, you know, some people liked it, some people didn't. So the main thing for me was believing in myself, believing that I could do it, and sticking with it. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And just, you know, self-love and continuing to go. And I've had times where I might have taken a little break, like, I just don't know. You know, am I really supposed to do this? Is Psycho my calling? But when it's your passion or when it's your calling from God, it's something that no matter how many times you try to shake it, you can't. And it's almost like Psycho, like I did birth it, as my mother would say, but it's almost like raising another child. You never give up on your kids. And Psycho to me is just like my second child. So I had to believe in myself. I believe that your circle has a lot to do with your success as well. I have a wonderful, wonderful family. I have wonderful friends that uplift me, even when I feel like I can't uplift myself at the time. So I think believing in your brand, even days that you don't believe in your brand, to stick with it. Self-love, because, you know, when you start to have self-love, it builds courage. And, you know, you just believe in yourself more. You like, you know what, I know this plan that God has for me. I'm going to follow through with it. So other obstacles have been realizing that Psycho is not for everybody, you know, so just coming to grips with everybody may not like my baby, but that's okay, because when you learn to focus on the people and the clients that do, that overshadows the people who don't like it. So it's just about consistency.
You know what's funny with you saying that, because, you know, in my book, I Choose Me, I wrote at least, I think, 2 or 3 chapters where I talked about the daycare and the all-girl preschool I tried to develop after I left my ex-husband. And I thought that God was speaking to me. I took this money, my dad had left me, and, you know, he had passed away, and I had this calling in my ear. And I was like, oh, I think this is what I'm supposed to do. I left, I was teaching at a school, and I stopped teaching. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this with a preschool, and then I'm going to move it up into a regular school. And I don't think I really had an idea of what it takes to be a female entrepreneur, how scary that is, not having health insurance, starting off, depending on someone else for your employment, the benefits, everything, just trying to start off. And some people will, keep their old job and they'll start working it. And some people will completely, just go right into it, throw themselves into it, and that's what I did. And I just had no way. How did you overcome your fear as you transitioned? Because I know you said you were working at Ann Taylor, you went to school for it, but to just be like, I'm just going to solely depend on my brand and let that be my main source of income. How was that, overcoming that fear to do that?
It wasn't easy again, but I have several girlfriends who are entrepreneurs, and what they did for me was allow me to work for them. So, I worked as a shampoo assistant for TT. I worked with Felicia, Exquisite Catering. I worked for Tracy with her assisted living. I've worked for several of my friends, and I think that's something that we need to do more. When you are an entrepreneur, even if you're not, if you have friends who have these businesses and you know that they can help you along the way, you can help them along the way, help them and they can help you. Being able to get paid from my friends, they helped me so much. I will never forget that. So I've had times where I had to take on different odd jobs. I have worked almost every job you could think of. And I had to do it sometimes because I needed money for Marley's daycare. I needed money for a product, and sometimes with business, the money can be rolling in. Sometimes it can be a little slow. So what I did was I had to understand that because you take on another job does not take away from you being an entrepreneur. It's helping you to get to that next step. So although, I'm doing cycle full time now, and, I even did it a lot full time in the past, but I worked these odd jobs to make ends meet. And so that I could develop myself, develop my brand, and still be able to take care of my daughter in my household. And like I said, I have such a wonderful family who has helped me in every way imaginable, and my friends as well. So I'm just thankful for my circle, and for having the opportunity to work for them and for them trusting me to be a part of their businesses. Because I know sometimes, it can be very hard to hire your friends, but it can also be a blessing. So you just decide, I just think when your friends have businesses, you treat them like it's yours. You treat it like you're working for another company. You don't disrespect them. You don't, you try your best to do your best for them. And in return, they did their best for me. So I'm very thankful for that.
And the thing that's wonderful and amazing about it is that they were all female entrepreneurs too. And some of them, I'm a single mother, and I know you're a single mother, and some of them were single mothers as well, that they're doing this all together. We're all working as a support system to each other to, to bring everybody together to make the money, to become successful, so that we all are loving each other and we're all doing it at the same time, and that's what's the amazing thing about it, is having that support system as a business owner. When I think back on my business and some things that I could have did differently, I remember one time in the meeting for, we were doing orientation for the childcare, and they were telling some of us like, well, if it is somebody that you can go into the daycare with or the childcare with, then you should do that. And at the time, I felt like it was my vision. I felt like, oh, this is me. I kind of wanted support. I knew I was going to have people working for me, but I just was like, I wanted things to be a certain way. I had a vision, I had a look for what it is, and I wish I would have found somebody who I could have partnered up with, and that might have helped me a little. I also, like you said something about how you worked other jobs. Maybe if I would have stayed teaching and then, did some type of branch or had somebody to be in there, my business could have could have lasted a little bit longer, possibly. Another thing I remember you saying too is the fact that you had to accept that not everybody is going to fall into Psycho. Psycho is its brand, it's its design, just like people who like Prada, people who like Betsy Johnson, people who like, these type of, whatever it is, people like Sean John. It's like everybody has their own taste. And I had a hard time dealing with some of my friends that I was living with in the community not sending their children to my daycare. It was hard for me to process. It was giving me anxiety and depression.
I understand.
How has that affected you at work with that?
Well, when I first started, I took everything personal. If you didn't come to my fashion show, it was personal. If you didn't wear Psycho today, it's personal. But I had to understand that me having fashion shows is work. Everybody can't come to work with you. And, it took me a long time to get to the point where I'm like, Psycho isn't for everybody. That didn't happen right away in the first year, couple of years. Some days I'm still like, why don't you have any Psycho in your closet? But I understand that it's not for everybody. Like you said, everybody, may not like Prada. Everybody may not like Gucci. But when you put your heart and your soul into something, you want everybody to like it. You want everybody to accept it. And it's not easy. But as time went on, I understood that focus on the people who do, who do like it. And sometimes people may not support me by wearing my garment, but they support me in other ways. They've helped me out. They've shared my posts. They've referred people. They send me a text. You're doing a great job. I love you. Have a wonderful day. That's all support. So once I realized what support really meant, it helped me to deal with that. Yeah. Because honestly, I have a lot of support. Even when I didn't believe I can do it and I didn't support myself, my friends and my family did, strangers did, so I just had to understand what support looked like. It's not always monetary. It's not always somebody walking down the street in Psycho. It's just somebody caring about you enough to send a text to say, I love you. You're doing a great job. How do you feel today? That's support. And sometimes that may mean more to you than selling a garment that day. It just depends on what you're going through at that time. So, it takes time to get to that point. It's not, it's not something that I woke up and like, I don't care. Who don't like Psycho? No, baby. It wasn't like that for me. I took it very personally.
I realized too, because in your mind, when you don't have a business and you have basically, like I was, no clue, you come in there, I'm thinking like, okay, this month I'm gonna make this much money. In a few months I'm gonna be making this much money. Then it's like the months are coming and I'm becoming humble. I'm getting humbled, because I'm going from not working and being a stay-at-home mom and having access and money, just spending it like water, to I'm the one now with signs, trying to put signs up in stakes in the dirt, in the rain, passing out flyers. I'm the one, when I was complaining about the flyers on, people putting flyers on your windshield wipers, and you're like, God, why don't they move this? You just talk to them. And I'm up here putting them, at the restaurants, these different places, trying to put them in, and I'm walking with December and I'm dragging her around, going everywhere. It was like we're on foot. What was it like how was it for those people who are just starting out with their business, when they're starting out and you're not getting those customers yet? What can you tell those people, those new entrepreneurs, to keep them motivated and to keep them on that vision? What would you tell them?
Well, the first thing is, speaking to the entrepreneurs and even yourself, you did it. You did it, by you having that daycare. It's a part of your story now. It's a part of your book. You put the lab work in. You went and you put signs out and you put flyers on people's cars. You opened your daycare. That's success in itself, because some people may not, some people may feel like they can't do it. And sometimes our mental can talk us out of things before we even try. So the fact that you did it, and it was open and it was running, it helped you with your calling that you have now. So for entrepreneurs, I would say, no matter if you're having your darkest days. And I mean, when you're feeling like, I can't do this, I can't get out of bed. You know, I tried to quit being a designer, okay? And you know what happened? I would get 3 or 4 texts of people ordering stuff. And I would be like, I just cannot just go for nothing. I can't believe you're ordering clothes today.
Right.
But I think with being an entrepreneur, no matter what, allow yourself to feel how you're feeling. Because sometimes we try to hold every emotion in. And sometimes we need to let them emotions flow. If you're not having a good day, let it flow so it can flow and it can pass by. You know, don't try to hold everything in, but never give up. I'm 20 years in the game and I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still trying to get to a level of success 20 years later, but I'm still here, you know, so stick with it. I don't care how dark your days get, you know, you pray, you keep going, and surround yourself with a circle that is going to inspire you, that's going to lift you up. My family and my friends, and you know, my mom and my dad's side, they're both from Virginia, and they have been amazing to me. You know, like just amazing. My friends have been amazing to me, so inspirational. So really paying attention to your circle can make you or break you, because when you're having those days when you're feeling down and you feel like giving up, those are the people that are going to uplift you and inspire you. Yes, you will have strangers. Yes, God will send angels, but the people that you see the most are the people that are going to inspire you to keep going. So always keep going. You'll know when it's your passion because you won't be able to let it go. And if you do let it go, you'll always pick it back up because there's something in you that just won't die. So never, ever give up. And I also want to tell them to be gentle with yourself, because we're going to be learning until the day we pass away. We're going to be learning every single day. And I used to put a limit on success and where Psycho should be. And I realized that just having my brand and continuing to grow is successful. Being able to overcome hurdles and, you know, to believe in myself and to practice self-love and to finally know that I have true self-love, that's success. So you just have to believe in yourself. And when you don't believe in yourself, have a circle that believes in you. And I promise you, whether it takes 10, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it will pay off.
It's so crazy because I just gave you that book, Jesus Entrepreneur, and you better be reading it. You better start reading it. But the thing is that I remember I was getting that book. I was looking for some inspiration because I was like into my bed, sleep. And a friend of mine, I remember, because I would go to the daycare, we'd be there almost 12 hours, nobody there. I'm trying to have events, parties, nobody coming up. And it was depressing me. Every day I was falling into a deep depression.
Yes.
And I remember one day just sitting, I'm reading a book, trying to encourage myself. And I remember just laying in bed, and my friend Shauna, so hopefully Shauna's, you know, listening and she's going to watch.
Shauna.
But Shauna had called me. And I was just down and out. I wasn't even at the center no more. I had stopped going in there like that because I was like, nobody's coming and it hurts my feelings. And I'm just sitting here and nobody's coming. And she was like, oh, I got some work for you. I was like, work? What you talking about? She was like, well, I was thinking maybe you could help me with watching my daughter every now and then, you know, so I can run errands, because she was, you know, she was working. She had her at a center, but she wanted some extra time to do some things she needed to do.
Okay.
So I was so excited. She was like, so come on. And she was like, get on up. And I got on. I was like, are you for real? And she was like, yes. And girl, I got so excited. I was like, I got December ready, and we went over there and I started watching her. And I only probably got, I think the most I got up in students was maybe 6. But let me tell you, the Lord is so, oh my gosh, he's so magical. Yes. And he's so amazing. And the way that he works things out in his process for doing things, it's like, oh my God, you're looking like, what? How did he do this? And you don't even know, it doesn't make sense to you until you're down the line. So sometimes you got to just accept things for how they are. But I met so many amazing women that they don't even realize how much they inspired me, and they just helped me. We bonded. We talked. We weren't a typical daycare. We were doing some things we were not supposed to be doing. Okay, sitting around on cots and in the corners, breastfeeding and having talks about just everything, our life, our relationships, all of this stuff. That wasn't a typical daycare. Okay, I needed that. That was my healing that God was blessing me with. It didn't last but for a year, but I would tell myself, I would say, well, and I wrote about this all in my book. I said, if this is what God, if he just wanted me to be here to be a sense of support to these 6 women, then that was me serving my purpose. And they were a sense of support to me.
Yes, absolutely.
And I remember you talking about your friends and how they were able to help you. I talk about this part in my book when I had to get ready to close my book. I had to get ready to close my daycare center. And I went to my friend and I said to her, because she was cooking the food there, and I asked her if she could hold me. And she said, yeah, she wiped herself off. And she was like, yes. And I hope she's paying attention too. And she came over and she said, give me 1 second. She finished straightening up the sink. And we ain't hardly had, it was just kiddie chairs there. So we found ourselves a spot in the corner. And she sit down and she opened her arms up and she was like, come here. And she opened her arms and I went into her arms and I just sit there and I just cried and I just cried my center, like how you said it was like a baby. It was like a child, because I had so much hope and dreams and something, that was inspiring. Because like you said, it's like when you have a baby and you like miscarry or something and it doesn't come to fruition, because the fruition is the baby growing up in age, and that's the success, like a business, and she wrapped her arms around me. I'm getting snot on her, drool, everything. I'm going, we talked about the other day. You was like, you want to fall out, you want to cry, you want to have
I want to roll on the floor.
I want to out. Like, I wanted to do that today because I was exhausted.
Oh, that's why I took a nap. And next time I need to pass out and cry and roll on the floor, I'm gonna do it.
Look at me. I'm gonna hold you like this.
Yes.
But that's what she did for me. And I called her a while ago and I read that chapter to her because I wanted her to see that how thankful and grateful I was for her being in my life. My business closed, and because of it and my health, my stress on me and my body, I ended up having to leave. And my sons, were there with their dad, so I didn't get to see them, as often as I would like. And it was hard. It was detrimental. Yes. And even when I went home, my brother was like, well, we can start the business. We can do it here. And it was like, it's like to me, somebody telling me something after you done had a miscarriage, and they're like, oh, let's go have another baby. You can go have another baby. You just miscarried. And you're like, I haven't mourned my business. And I honestly feel like I literally was still mourning my business. And when I was writing those chapters, I was crying for my baby, for my daycare, and that's why I wanted to
definitely. Yes.
For you, what does your day look like? You're a single mom. What does your day look like as a business mogul? And when you wake up, what is your routine for some of these single mothers out here who are starting their business and they want some motivation. They want some people to support them. They need to know that there's some people who can relate to them. Tell them what your day looks like.
So on days where my mom may not come over to help me with Marley. So now that she's back in school, so she has to be to school by 8 a.m. So I'm up at 6:30, 6:40, get ourselves together. We're out the house by like 7:30. I drop her off at school. I go to Starbucks and get my unsweetened iced latte. And then I go to work. So she gets out of school at 2:40. So I'll go to my suite from 8:30 to 2. I'll leave around 2, go pick her up from school. And if I have help in the evening, I'll go back to my suite and work. If not, I'll bring my work home to finish. On the weekends, she is mostly with her dad on the weekends, so I'm able to work around the clock. When my mom comes over to help me and spend the night, I'm able to work around the clock. So I'll be able to, work until I'm done. Sometimes I'm at my studio 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm up the next day doing it all over again. So what I had to realize was, instead of me being stressed out that I can't be in my studio at the hours that I may want sometimes, then I'll do the work that I need to do on a computer, sending out my emails, gearing up for my digital portfolio, responding to models, So, and then, I come home with Marley, I'm cooking dinner, we're doing her homework, and just trying to balance spending time with Marley and also spending time with Psycho. And then spending time with myself.
Yeah.
So, that is like, and as you notice, I put myself last. But sometimes I realize that I have to put myself first. So if I get up in the morning early, and I need to pray, if I need to, which I pray every morning and throughout the day. But, if I need to cut on some music, if I need to listen to the birds chirp, if I need to even get on the shade room sometimes to get a good laugh, whatever I need to do.
Yes, I know I do.
Girl, what? But whatever I need to do, so my schedule, with me being an entrepreneur, I'm very grateful because it is flexible. But I just have to utilize my time very well. So when I'm at my studio, I cut my music on, I'm in my zone. I'm painting, I'm stitching, I'm doing my tags. I just, when the kids were doing virtual learning, it was a little different because they had their laptops. If you needed to take them to work with you, you could. But now that they're back in school, it's a strict schedule. So, days that I do have to pick her up from school, I have to utilize my time very well. It's really no sitting down. It's really no breaks. By the time I leave work, I'm painted up. I have to do everything that I need to do from 8:30 to 2. And then, like I said, sometimes I can, she's with my mom and I can go back and work overnight. But sometimes I'm in my studio the weekends, and when I have help, late. And then I'm up the next morning doing it all over again.
And you're very disciplined, because I know when I'm trying to bring you out into them streets on the weekends, you is not for it. She is not for it, guys. She is so disciplined. I'm like, please, the streets are waiting for you. Because people, I was telling somebody before, I was like, yeah, I have my glasses on, but we have to love on ourselves. So someday you're going to see me with the glasses. Someday you're going to see me with my thighs out, my cleavage. Yes. That's part of being a woman.
Yes.
I'm so thankful that you came and you shared your time with us, because I know you are a busy woman. If you could sum it up in like 3 words or something like around that, for some last words for these people, these single mothers out here, for these women out here who are trying to start a business, who have started a business, and they want something to just hold on to, to keep them going. What would you say? Just like you speaking directly to that person. What would you say to them?
To sum it up in a few words, I would say God, self-love, and consistency.
Consistency.
Because that's something that I struggled with for a long time, because, I wasn't as consistent as I could have been early on. And, consistency doesn't mean doing the same thing every day. It means taking a step today, taking a step tomorrow. And I also had to learn that it's okay to take off, because when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes taking off, for me, I would feel guilty because I just felt like it's so much more I need to do. But taking off a day, maybe 2 if you're lucky, but definitely God, self-love, and consistency, because with that consistency, you're steady moving forward. Even if it's at a slow pace, you are moving forward. And before you know it, you are exactly where you need to be. And what I had to understand is God's timing is the best timing, because if Psycho would have came to me earlier, and I thought, I want Psycho to be this way at this age, that way I wasn't ready for it. I didn't even know how to properly love myself. How could I run a business? So God's timing and everything that I went through, I don't regret, because it has helped me to become the Brandi and the Psycho that I am today. So I absolutely love it. So so self-love, well, God first, that self-love, it just pours over into everything in your life. It's not just loving yourself, it's loving your business, it's believing in yourself, it's just it's just using what God gave you to bring light into this dark world and consistency. And with that, in your circle, I cannot leave out. That's so important. Your circle, your family, and your friends are very, very important. They're gonna help to uplift you days when you can't uplift yourself. And if you just do that, everything will work itself out.
Yes, she is the first person I talk to when I wake up, and the last person I talk to at night. Okay.
Hey.
I gotta have a positive person I'm falling asleep to. Sometimes it ain't always a man you gotta be thinking on your mind. You gotta have somebody you admire, in your life. I want to thank you so much, and I'm so amazed. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of all of us from knowing us as young girls, young ladies, and now we're adults and stuff. Well, I think my mind is still like, I refer to myself as a girl. So I feel like I was still in like 16, 17, whatever,
Me too.
Yeah, so it's just like, I'm just so amazed and so proud of you. And this girl, her heart is of gold. Let me tell you, honey, if you get the opportunity to be in her presence, for her to shine light on you, anybody, male, female, whatever, you are in the grace of God, because he has blessed you with this divine being right here. So I had to open up this whole platform with nobody other than the Miss Brandi Lewis of Cycle Design House. I would not be here right now without you. I would not.
Tanya, I just want to say thank you, and that I'm so proud of you. You have, you are like the definition of strength, the definition of, success moving forward. You've even helped me with these long conversations with self-love and, just believing in myself, and just watching your journey from where you started to where you are now. And now look what we're doing,
High five, girl. Like,
Shorty. Look, your book. I'm so excited about your book.
Excited to figure out, I'm scared, and I'm so excited because I done told all my business guys. I'm like, Lord have mercy, Jesus. I done told it. I hope y'all don't judge me too bad. Don't take it easy on me.
But listen, people need that. When I did that artist talk, I said things that I probably would not have said, but it's almost like a relief.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it. I'm trying to be more transparent. I'm trying to tell more so that when it comes out, it's not like whoosh. Like, it's just like, for me. And this is my healing and my self-help and what I need to do to process it for Tanya. So that's how I'm doing it. And, I'm doing it. I'm just trying to be in grace. And this is where I think God is moving me. And I just want to help more women to just love themselves and so forth. So I'm just so thankful. We're going to wrap this up right now because we got a little bit of
Yeah, my greens are on, girl. I'm trying to get these turkey wings together.
Yes, and then we can maybe do some questions because we're going to try to make it a watch party. So do some questions, and then we can respond in that, in that chat room on that arena. Okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, you guys.